Hello and welcome to this last video of our 5-video training series where we are looking at creating passive income through online investment. In the previous 4 videos, we have been looking at the foundation of your business, which is basically yourself, your mindset, and your goal setting. We have been looking at risk management, at strategy development, and also at the different opportunities that are out there. In order to help you to make appropriate system choices rather than wasting your money in hype systems, I want to show you in this video 11 criteria that are important when you make your system choices, as well as I want to give you a couple of guidelines when you make your research and what is important when you make your research as well. Before we get started, just a quick reminder of who I am. I'm Romina Flummi. If you want to get in touch with me, it's really easy to do so. Just search me on Facebook, send me a friendship request, send me a message or anything like that. Get in touch with me. If you're an experienced investor and online marketer, I'm happy to to expand my network and to learn from you, and maybe you can learn something from myself. And if you're a new investor, you don't know where to go, you don't know what to do, always feel free to shoot me a message, send me a friendship request, and I'll be happy to answer all the questions that you have. Okay, let's look at the different criteria that are important when you choose your business. There are criteria that are of primary importance, and there are criteria that are of secondary importance. But you will learn as we go which criteria are the most important to look at. The most important criteria that we have to look at is proof of real business. Okay, so every business comes with a story. So some businesses say they do forex trading, some businesses do cryptocurrency trading, some businesses do IPO trading, whatever it is. Every sort of business has a story, but we actually have to have a real and consistent proof of the business activity. So it doesn't really help us if there's a forex trader out there that says, like, oh, I'm trading forex for you. They give you one forex trading report and that's it. We have to have real and consistent proof of the business activity. If that is not right, I would suggest to not look at into that business any further, because it is most likely to be a hype or just a short-term business. So if we don't have a real consistent proof of business, it's always a little bit harder to make sure it's a legit opportunity out there. What is also important is that the CEO or the owner, whatever you want to call this person, is known. So is this person known by the investor? And I'm talking about a real person. So it doesn't help us if, for example, we have just one picture of this person. It can be any person, any pictures that is taken out of Google. So it must be consistent proof that this person is actually real. It's good to have live videos. The best is if we have actually live events where we can go to, where we can meet the person and talk to the person or hear him talking or her talking, in order to make sure this person is actually real and not just a Google picture or a random live video from Facebook. It is important that this person has also a genuine vision for the company. So is it only the vision to make money, or is the vision to improve the lives of different people, or is the vision long term? What is the vision for the company, rather than only for the sake of making money? Because if the vision is only to make money for the company, we are pretty sure it's going to be only a short-term success, or it's more, not pretty sure, but it's most likely that it's only a short-term project. Transparency is also very important. So when it comes to transparency, we have to make sure that you don't have any open questions. Okay, so questions can be answered by your upline, your direct sponsor, or most importantly by the company itself. So we have to make sure there are no shady activities out there. Ask, as I said, the company, your support, your upline, whoever it is, and see how helpful are they with answering your questions. It is very important to do that. because if there are shady activities, if there are open questions, if you don't know what is happening, it's always a little bit harder to yeah, to make an appropriate choice based on what you know, rather than based on what other people say. So always make sure, create maybe also questions that you ask and see how helpful is the company you support and your upline. Okay, the next important point is also profit. Okay, it sounds a little bit okay. We are only looking into money, but if we take a risk, it's my personal opinion, we want to make sure that we get an appropriate profit for the risk that we are taking when investing our money online. So as we discussed in previous video, it is very important to have a good relation between profit and stability. 1% per day profit is possible, but it's not necessarily the norm. Everything above a percent per day is most likely to end up as a hype system. So 1% per day is possible. It is not necessarily the norm. So for myself, for example, the absolute minimum will be 0.5% a day. That is more like a low risk investment, which is 3.5% per week. I personally am not involved into an opportunity that only pays out 3.5% a week, because I'm normally for myself looking at yeah, like 5% per week. But that is something that yeah, we can look at. But everything below that is something that is not worth the risk I am taking. For me personally, obviously for you it might be a little bit different. Everything above 1% a day, out of my personal experience, and I lost a little bit of funds as well with companies that promise more than that. It's more likely to be a hype scheme. So always look into it's a good idea to look into 4 to 6%, 5-ish per week. Yeah, and then obviously it is up to you how much risk you want to take and you're happy to take. So if you look into something that is 0.5% a week or even less, obviously you're looking at less risk. If you're looking at above 1% a week, obviously that is possible, but then it is a good idea to be aware of the risk that you are taking. The next factor or criteria is professionalism. Professionalism is a very broad word, so there's no real guideline of what it actually means. But what I mean in this video is how professional is the web page, how are problems getting solved, how investors are getting informed about problems, and how helpful and how fast is the support team, especially when it comes to problem and problem solving. It is not necessarily always the problem that is getting the problem. It is the problem is investors are not getting informed what actually is happening. Because if investors are informed about what is happening and how we're going to solve that problem, then obviously it is a little bit less of a difficulty. But if investors are not getting informed, obviously that raises suspicion, that raises panic, that raises all different emotions that we don't want to have. So professionalism when it comes to problem solving is really, really important. Planning. Planning for me is important. So what I normally look at is how long a project or a system has been planned, and if there are data out there, if there are proof out there, how or if the company has been run privately before it has been open to the public. So there are a lot of companies that started a couple of years ago with only big investors before they opened their gate for small investors, like for example $100 or 90 euro or whatever small investment might be in the terms of that particular company. But when it has been run privately, obviously it is a good indication that it is a long-term opportunity or has the potential to be a long-term opportunity. How advanced is the system is another criteria or another question when it comes to planning that is a good idea to get answered. Because if it's a really brand new system, then obviously it hasn't been tested and obviously it has more chance to crash down. But if the system is advanced, it has been tested, it has been maybe tested privately before it has been opened to the public, then obviously it's less likely than that the system can break down over time or in a short period of time. And then obviously it's a good idea if the company has plans into the future. So what are the plans for the future? How are the plans being communicated? What are the legal processes? Because when we deal with money, what my experience show, a lot of companies have to go through legal processes, especially in countries like the US, Germany, and all these countries where a lot of people are getting now involved in online investment. So what are the legal plans for the future? What are the visions for the future, and how are these visions communicated? Which those questions or those indications give us a good idea that this business has actually a long-term potential. Then obviously live events. Live events are wonderful and a fantastic proof that the business is real and legit as well. So when I'm talking about live events, it's not live events that are talking about the investors themselves. There are investors groups out there. I'm part of a really big investor group in Germany. They organize their own events, but it is more important that the company itself organizes live events in order to inform people or motivate people or do leadership development or anything like that. It is a fantastic opportunities and a fantastic proof for myself. Obviously it might be for you different, but for myself it is a fantastic proof that I can go somewhere, that I can meet the people of the company, I can meet the network, and it's all organized by the company. If there are no live events, it's just a fancy website, it's always a little bit harder to find a good indication if that business is going to be long-term around or not. Support. What I mean, and I talked about that a little bit earlier when it comes to transparency, how helpful is the company support? How helpful is your upline? How helpful is your direct sponsor? Because we all sit in the same boat, not only as a company, but also as a team when it comes to sponsoring, etc. So how helpful is your support? So maybe make up questions, make up problems, and see how helpful and fast the support team and your sponsoring team is, in order to make sure that you are also comfortable with the team you choose when it comes to building your own business if you choose to do so. And then, as I said, ask questions before you join a team, an opportunity or anything like that. Make sure all questions are getting answered, all questions are getting answered to your satisfaction, and that makes you feel comfortable with the choice you're going to make. Okay. Honesty is a very, very big indicator for myself. Okay. When it comes to online investment and the entire industry, there is always risk there. So past performance never indicates future performance. So there must be a risk notification everywhere. So if there is no risk notification, or in opposition someone says that, oh, this opportunity is completely safe, your returns are guaranteed, etc., etc., then obviously it is most likely to be a hype scheme. So there's always risk in that industry, and that's also why I do or create those videos, to make sure you are aware of the risk that you're taking, because risk is not a bad thing. It is only getting bad if you're not aware of the risk you're taking. So honesty is a very important factor when I look at different opportunities. Okay, then the website. I've mentioned in a few videos ago that the website is not the most important factor, and I'll stick to my to what I have said. But a website can become really important when it comes to promoting your business. So as I said before, a website doesn't really indicate a great business, because there's a lot of small businesses with a really poor website that do a fantastic service. But if you want to do or promote your business, it's very important to have a good website, to have a functioning website, to have a good landing page possibly. So if a business or if a company provides you with that tool, then obviously it's a little bit easier to build your business. So as I said, website doesn't indicate a successful and genuine business, but it is important when we look at sales-based businesses and promotional work. Sales-based businesses, as we discussed in the previous video, might be like ref shares, for example. So a good website is always really important when it comes to creating sales, especially in a business that doesn't rely on trading, but relies on sales coming in. And obviously, it's really annoying if you don't have a functional back office, if the website is always down or anything like that. So a functional back office is always important for your own business activity as well. When it comes to online investment, in the previous couple of months, we have been experiencing in different opportunities hacker attacks. Now, when it comes to website, it's also a good idea to have a look into how secure the website is, how secure are the funds. So it is a good idea to have SMS PIN, email PIN, or even better, Google Authenticator, because then it's really hard for hackers to get into the system and not just destroy your funds. So have a look into the website and into the security measurements or security standards, and then also make your choice according to that. It's one important factor as well. And then competition. So competition in the end of the day is not a bad thing. So people think like, oh, when there's a lot of competition out there, I don't have any chance to get into the market or get a foot into the market or anything like that. Competition in the end of the day is not a bad thing, because if there's a lot of people involved in the business and there's a lot of people getting successful in the business, then obviously it's a good indication to say, okay, that business has to be or has to have the chance to be legit, because there's so many people involved, there's so many people that actually have success with that. Having said that, if you want to do online marketing and if there's a lot of online competition out there, then obviously it is a little bit harder to get a foot into the market. So always make sure, analyze the competition and make sure to outsmart your competition in the end of the day by providing more value, providing more results or anything like that. So look at what your competition is doing if there's a lot out there and see what you can do better than your competition, because your USP also in the online world is really important to develop as well. Having said that, as I said, competition is not a bad thing. If you have competitors that are in the same business or in a similar business, they can help you evaluate an opportunity. But make sure that there's only a few people out there that actually give you an honest opinion without promoting their own system. So those few people, if you can find them, make sure to have them in your network. Because most people, they give you their sales pitch, their talk another opportunity that you might be looking at down in order to promote their own business, etc., etc. So if you find those few people that are actually genuinely give their opinion without promoting their own business, those are the people you want to be in touch with. Another criteria is growth. So growth is most important for a business that is sales-based, let's say ref shares or product-based businesses or anything like that. So having a look into how fast or how steady the business is growing, it's really important to have a look into that as well, because if the business is just steady or even declining, then it's obviously not a good opportunity to get involved in. It's also part of transparency, because if we don't know, or if a company is not transparent in their growth, then obviously it's maybe not a good idea to get involved into that opportunity there. And timing. Timing is important when it comes to sales-based businesses as well, ref shares, hypes especially, because depending on what sort of ref share you're looking at, some ref shares can only last a couple of months, some last a couple of years. But the earlier you get involved into that business, the better. With hype, after 2 weeks, it can be already too late. So make sure to get involved as early as possible into that opportunity. Okay, now let's have a look into your research. So research is obviously one of the most important things or skills that you can develop in the online investment industry. So in this last section of this training series, I want to make sure that you understand what is important when you do your research, where can you gather information, and how can you develop that research skill in order to make appropriate choices without possibly relying on other people? Okay, so when it comes to research, it is important to have a look into the big picture. Okay, so we have discussed those 13 criteria, but obviously no business is 100% perfect. So when it comes to system choices, point 1 and 2 to 4, the proof of business, CEO, transparency, and profit, are the most important criteria on points to look at. If like 2 or 3 of those criteria are not satisfying, then obviously the rest of the picture can't really work out. In my personal experience, obviously you might have made other experience, but in my personal experience, if like 2 or 3 of those points are not working out, then obviously the rest is a little bit more difficult. If there's maybe just one point that is maybe, for example, the company is not as transparent as we're hoping it to be, but we have proof of business, we know the CEO, we have proof of a profit, an appropriate profit, there are live events out there, etc., then obviously when they are not as transparent, it's not as bad. But if we don't have proof of business, then obviously the rest of the game can't function. So always make sure have the big picture in mind, and it's okay if not all criteria apply as long as the big picture is stable in the end of the day. Gathering information. So online there are a lot of opportunities to gather information. Okay, we have blogs, we have websites, we have videos, especially on YouTube. So gather information. Gather information in a neutral mindset. So gather all the positive information and all the negative information. Because in the end of the day, when we make our online research, all we research is other people's opinion. So it's a good idea to make a list and write down what are the positive opinions out there, what are the negative opinions out there, what are the facts, and then make your research. Don't only go out there and believe one opinion or the other opinion. Make an appropriate and neutral research and gather as many information as you possibly can. Personal contacts to other networkers, there's where the competition, for example, comes in place, is always a good thing, because in the end of the day, you don't have to do all the research yourself. You can also tap into the knowledge of other people, of the experience of other people, and they make you due diligence based on that. As I said, there's not a lot of people that actually give you an honest opinion, because most of the people come around with their sales pitch. So if you find those few people that give you an honest opinion without trying to pitch you, etc., then obviously those are the people that you want to talk to and that you want to have in your network as well. Skepsis. So that's what I was trying to say. Go out there with a neutral mindset. So be skeptical towards positive information and also towards negative information. Gather all the information that are out there. Make your own research based on the facts that the company has, based on the competition that is out there, and then develop your own opinion rather than believing other people's opinions. Find the people that give you honest opinion as well. There can be people that are using the system. There can be people using other systems that are deciding to not use the system for a particular reason. Whatever it is, try to find as much honest information as possible. And as I said, and that's why I developed this 5-video training series. Ultimately, develop the research skill yourself. And trust. So trust is really important, because when it comes to business, obviously, most of the research has been done by yourself, but there has to be a little bit of trust, because without trust in other people, you can't build a business. You can't, you can't really progress in all areas of life. So as much research as you have done, at some point we have to trust and we have to take a risk. So I call it the art of trust. Develop the art of trust in yourself, in other people, and into the system that you're looking at. Nothing in the end of the day is perfect, but if you trust yourself, others, and the system, it's easier to jump into, and it's easier also to promote that particular system if you have the belief and the trust in the system and the people you're working in. And also trust your gut feeling as well. So if you look into a system and it looks good, people talk really good about it, etc., but your gut feeling does feel really bad, I mentioned that in the video before, then it may be a good idea to look into another opportunity. Sometimes my personal gut feeling has protected me, and sometimes acting against my gut feeling led, yeah, has lost myself money. So I made that experience myself as well. So trust your gut is also a good idea when it comes to the spiritual laws of the universe. I won't go into that a little bit deeper. Your intuition and your gut feeling plays a really big importance. So always trust your gut as well in the end of the day. And then obviously experience. Experience is something, unfortunately, that I can't give you just like that. That's why I designed that 5-video training series, and I hope I could hand you over a little bit of the experience that I made during the time that I got involved in the online investment industry. It is a good idea if you are not ready to invest right now, make your market analysis. Pick out a couple of companies, analyze those companies, see how they're doing right now, see how they're doing in 3 months and 6 months, see how they grow, etc. Open your account or just test them. Test them with like maybe $100, $50, the minimum amount of funds that the company requires, and then make your market analysis and see how the company develops before you jump into that particular company or in the market itself with more funds that are have the potential to make you more money. Okay, so this is it for this 5-video training series. I really hope I could create value for your time invested. I hope to hear from you. If you could get value out of this video training series, if you like this particular video, I'd be really happy if you leave a comment underneath, if you leave me a thumbs up. If you are new to the entire industry and you want to have you need to have a business that is easy to get started with, I'll pop you a link underneath of this video as well, so you can get started as well in the online investment industry with as little as €90. And then I'm hoping to hear from you on Facebook, on YouTube, etc. And I'll be developing a couple of more video series in the next few months as well. So keep tuned, and I wish you happy investing. Bye bye.